Good morning and welcome to the Mike Graham Show. I nearly said plank of the week there, but it's a bit early. We were talking about it, that's why. It's a word association. I don't know what's going on with my tie here. It's a bit weird, isn't it? I'll try and straighten that out for you. Welcome. It's 7 o'clock. Right, bang on the button. And of course it is, Tuesday the 31st of March, which means one thing only. Tomorrow will be April Fool's Day. I can't imagine what kind of ridiculousness we'll have to come up with in order to try and trick you into thinking we're doing some fake stories. I've given up on all of that now because the real stories are so ridiculous that you actually can't make any mad April Fool's stories up anyway. So I'm delighted to say, here with us this morning, as he is every Tuesday, Mr. Russell Quirk.
Good morning.
Very nice to see you.
And you, mate.
The world continues to turn. I said yesterday that it feels a bit like at the moment you're in a sort of giant tumble dryer, just kind of going round and round and round.
Yeah.
Occasionally it stops and you go, oh, it stopped.
Yeah.
Then it goes back the other way.
But not for long.
I bought some petrol this morning.
Wow.
151.9.
Did you ring your bank first?
Yeah. Had to take out a mortgage. And I take the view, because I noticed at the weekend people are starting to queue up for it, right? And I won't queue for anything. Because I happen to come in here at 5.
You'd rather leave your car at the side of the road?
Well, no, because I come in here at 5 o'clock in the morning and I happen
so you
to
got
stop.
time.
I stop at a petrol station every morning to buy the papers, these, because it's the only place I can get them. I thought, and there's never anybody there.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I might as well just put some petrol in the car.
Yeah.
I did need it.
Did you see what the government are making out of this energy price hike?
£20 million a day extra, according to the Times this morning.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
energy tax.
And that's without Rachel Reeves adding the 5% extra fuel duty,
which is coming
she's about
in
to do
September,
in a few days.
right? Yeah.
So 20 million quid extra a day pays for a lot of migrants.
Does pay for a lot of migrants. It doesn't pay for enough of them, though. But there's still more
According
of them
to the
coming.
government, no.
Compared to the most recent forecast, the Treasury will bring in an extra £8 billion a year from VAT alone on petrol and taxes. And this is why it was so ridiculous yesterday when you saw Starmer inviting all the heads of the energy companies in to say, we must do this together. We can't do it alone. Well, you could actually reduce the tax, matey, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, every other country has.
Australia's done it.
Australia's done it. Lots of European countries have. They've either taken VAT off of fuel, or they've halved it, or they've suspended fuel duty.
Right.
But of course, look, Reeves can't afford to do it because she's got us in such an economic mess.
Yes.
She needs the money to spend on wasteful vanity projects.
Yeah. Well, not least what we described yesterday as the the payment to various people, the pay rise that you're going to get if you're on benefits, 6.2%,
or an MP,
double what you get on inflation, and then MPs 5%, another 3,300 quid for them, which is also payable, by the way, to the cabinet, including Rachel Reeves. So they've caused the cost of living to rocket before Iran even happened, and they get rewarded.
And it shows how completely out of touch they are, because of course they don't actually ever have to put their hands in their pocket for things like food, drink, fuel, because everything's expensed.
Yeah, exactly right. And also when they're in government, everything's literally run by the people in government. They even get a free house.
Yeah, so they're completely and utterly distanced from the rest of us, which is why they keep making stupid decisions.
I know, it is absolutely shocking. I'm trying to find out, where are we here? Tuesday, 31st of March. Yeah, there you go. I've just launched it. I was a bit tardy this morning because we're running around doing a whole bunch of stuff. A quick look at some of the headlines going on, though. Let's see, what have we got? A lot of stuff about Scott Mills, of course. The Sun and the Mail both leading with it. Mills fired over 2016 sex probe. Cops quiz on offences against a teenager. The case was closed due to lack of evidence. BBC crisis as another scandal hit presenter is sacked. Radio 2 breakfast star Scott Mills fired over historic relationship. There's a lot going on here.
But there's a difference here, though, isn't there? Look, this is 10 years ago. Obviously, lots of these historic BBC scandals, of which there have been quite a number. Obviously, they all kind of tend to go back in time. But the difference with this one, of course, is that there was a probe into, sorry, that's probably the wrong phraseology, a probe.
There was probe.
An investigation into what Scott Mills is alleged to have done.
Yes.
And of course,
by the police.
Yeah, but it was dropped, right? So there was found to be no evidence. So it's
it's not quite as simple as that.
I was going to say
there's found to be not enough evidence to bring a case.
So, but what's a bit odd here is normally they allow kind of bad behaviour, particularly of a sexual nature. So Hugh Edwards, Jimmy Savile, to carry on for decades before they do anything. This guy hasn't actually been convicted of anything, albeit I'm sure there is another side to the story. And yet they've thrown him out. So that, is that progress, I guess, in terms of the BBC's attitude to all such things?
Well, there's a few things that are interesting here. One, it's Tim Davies' final day, I think, today, right? And the new guy comes in with the new broom, and I wondered if he had issued some kind of edict, this guy Britain, to say, look, I don't want to come in to some kind of horrible, bag of crap that I'm going to have to
Or
explore.
A little gift to Tim Davies, you sacking, because otherwise I'm good. It's going to make you look bad that you didn't.
Exactly right. But I mean, it's the big question for me is if there was a police investigation in 2018, which is around about the time they started to promote this guy into quite big positions, right? I think the afternoon show on Radio 1, and then he suddenly got breakfast on Radio 2. If the BBC didn't know about the police probe into him, why didn't they in 2018? Surely they must have known. And they must have decided that if the police have decided there's not enough evidence to prosecute him, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Whereas now they've gone,
but now they think the world has changed on the basis of the focus being on the BBC for this kind of alleged behaviour. But then maybe they think they know more, and maybe there is more to come out. So they've thrown him under the bus before that
As
happens.
usual, they're being sort of economical with the truth. Mark Littlewood put out a great tweet last night in which he said, considering that I was forced to pay this man's salary for years and years and years and years, which is quite a high salary, over £360,000 a year, basically, was sacked because he wasn't a pedo. It's always good to get the voice of reason on early in the morning. You know, the point is that he's right. You know, we as licence fee payers are forced to pay the salaries of these ridiculously overpaid characters, right? And so we deserve to know exactly what happened and exactly why they sacked him and what the reason is. Because if the police don't think there was enough evidence to prosecute him, what has he done wrong exactly?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you would hope that innocent till proven guilty still prevails. But of course, isn't it true?
I mean, it doesn't though, does it? That's the thing.
Well, no, it doesn't. And in media world and in terms of trial by public, I suppose it doesn't.
Yeah.
But isn't it true that you can't submit a freedom of information request to the BBC, apparently?
Oh, really?
So you can to local authorities, government and the Ministry of Defence or whatever. But even though the BBC is technically a public body, which we pay for through taxation effectively, as I understand it, I mean, it might be proven wrong. Maybe someone might want to comment and tell me if I'm right or wrong, but you can't FOI the BBC. Now, there has to be that fundamental change there, surely, on the basis that A, it's scandal here, B, it is a public authority run with public money. You should be able to FOI it till the cows come home. And if ever there was an organisation that needs a few FOIs, it's the BBC.
Yes. Well, exactly right. And they also try and sort of hide behind, like yesterday put a statement saying, you know, we won't be making any further comment about individuals. Well, he's not an individual, he's an employee of the BBC.
Well, he's one of your
who
figureheads.
happens to be one of the high-profile presenters of one of your breakfast shows, watched by something like 5-6 million people every day.
But I think if that was ITV or Sky or News UK or whatever, they'd have the right to say that. I'm afraid when it's a public organisation paid for with public money, they don't have the right to pull the drawbridge up. They just don't.
Well, I mean, I think, quite frankly, there will no doubt be interest in this from Parliament, and the Media, Culture and Sport Committee will probably call it'll be his first job, won't it? He'll get in there, put his feet under the table, right, any chance for a cup of coffee? Sorry, can't call you darling. No, I'm sorry, we can't make you any coffee because you've been hoisted before the Parliamentary Committee to go and ask why yet another scandal-ridden presenter
before
has been fired.
Even started.
You know?
Yeah, I know. And will it be the last? I suspect not.
I suspect not. But I mean, if they've changed their policy on, you know, what it is you can and cannot do as a presenter of a show on television or radio, then I think we ought to be told.
Well, I think it also means that there's going to be a lot more sackings in the next few days and weeks at the
exactly
BBC.
Right. Angela says this, could you wish my son Joseph a happy 15th birthday? Absolutely, Angela. Happy birthday, Joseph, and long may your lumbrick, as they say in Scotland. Because it's Easter holidays, of course, for the school kids are all home, aren't they?
Yeah. And
I was on the tube yesterday. Crikey, there's nothing worse than the holidays where you've got there's two groups that you have to watch out for.
Tourists and school kids.
One, the school trips from places like France and Belgium, where there's literally dozens of kids walking backwards and forwards up and down platforms in the way. Then you've got parents taking their kids to the zoo or the science museum or whatever it is, and they all stop in the wrong place and they don't know where they're going.
Yep.
And it's quite irritating.
Yeah, more people.
I think you're getting older.
More people would be surprised that you, as Mike Graham, actually uses public transport.
I've always done it. I mean, I don't know why people are surprised by that. I mean, I do love driving around in my Maserati, but to be honest, it's not the quickest way to get around London, especially in the middle of the day. So when I go over to the gym in Oxford Street, I take the Jubilee line. It's the quickest way to go. You know, although I did have a bit of a mishap yesterday because where I live, it's quite a small street down by the river, and there's a little bus that runs up and down it. And I'm standing at the bus stop, and about 10 minutes go on. This is about unusual. Some guy comes past, he goes, "Oh, mate, the bus stop's closed." I'm like, "What?
What?
They'd shut the bus stop.
Closed?
They'd shut the bus stop on the basis that the bus was on diversion.
More Sadiq Khan cuts.
Yeah, but you don't know. You never know why. And, you know, and there's nothing on the app. It doesn't tell you that. I know these are problems that people probably don't care
all the time.
about.
Yeah.
But no, but it's just the whole idea that, again, Pooch and I were talking about it. You know, you can't get any information out of anybody. You want to get something done, you can't. Nobody can do it. You know, you think. I know they put a sign on the bus,
and the public authorities do things in such an arbitrary way. I mean, the fact that you stand there not knowing. When you're out and about then with the great public, do you get recognised?
I do.
Yeah. And generally positively.
Oh, always. Yeah. I think there's only once that I got somebody once when I was walking. After I did my evening show in the old days at Talk TV, and I was walking to the car park to get my car, and these two characters came and went, "Oh, it's Mike Graham. Oh, can we have a selfie?" And I was like, "All right." And as we did the picture, this guy said, "I detest everything that you stand for."
What, the guy that asked for the selfie?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I went, "Okay." I said, "Well, I don't really care. As long as you're listening, you know, I'm quite happy if you disagree with me."
Yeah. Did he publish the selfie with a load of abuse, I wonder?
I don't know.
Would you?
I don't know. But no, I mean, everybody's always really nice. You know, in fact, I saw a guy yesterday, and it's the strangest of things. I mean, a guy came up to me once in Oxford Street from Dubai. He said, "I listen to you every day in Dubai." I'm just visiting London at the moment. Brilliant. You know.
Well, I was in Dubai, as you remember, a few weeks ago, and I walked up to the bar by the pool, and the bloke said, "I saw you on Mike Graham show this morning." No, he did.
That's brilliant.
The Four Seasons, Dubai.
By the way, we've now finally, you might not be able to see it because it's right behind me, but we've been looking for listeners and viewers in South America, and we got one yesterday who said he's in Buenos Aires. So we're able to put a little, and I even managed to get it in the right place, Pooch approved. When I said, I think this is where it goes, it's Buenos Aires. And so we've now finally got a dot.
Well, you didn't look it up, you just knew?
No, I just sort of knew, yeah. I mean, I should know, really. I mean, it's not that difficult, is it? Anyway, listen, we should run through some of the papers because there's a lot of other great stories that we need to talk about as well. Aside from the Scott Mills story, lots of warnings about the war. Aside from the 20 million a day for Rachel Reeves, Trump's threatening to obliterate the Iranian power plants. He's also now threatening...
Good morning. I'm Edward Hughes.
...away from the war without opening the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah, without having control of Hormuz, which I guess he's got to do as a signal to the markets, hasn't he? Because obviously they've not responded particularly well to what he's done.
But except if he doesn't reopen the Straits of Hormuz, the markets aren't going to move, are they?
Well, I guess. I mean, look, who knows? But look, one way or the other, I think the markets, the public needs some solace, don't they, in terms of what the outcome is going to be. Benjamin Netanyahu today has said that they are more than halfway through their desired outcome, whatever that means. Right. So I don't know what the outcome actually that they desire is.
Well, I think they want to see the end of it all, don't they?
Well, they want to see regime change, I suppose. Not quite sure they're going to achieve that. But I also hear that there's a load of, literally thousands of US Marines on those aircraft carriers just off the coast of Iran. And they're drilling, as we speak, getting off the boats and getting onto the land.
They are. But
now, whether that's posturing...
Yeah, well, there's only about 20 to 30,000 of them, though. I know that sounds like quite a lot. But do you know how many they had in Iraq? 250,000.
Wow. Well,
that's what they needed. And Iraq's a much smaller country.
Yeah. So I suspect that's a bit of posturing, a bit of a PR thing on the part of Trump. But look, for all the right reasons, this does need to end. But at the same time, I'm still, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of war before anybody starts kind of putting words in my mouth. But I think the fact that Trump has started this for all the right reasons in terms of that regime change and the fact that we should be reminded that the Ayatollahs, plural, are the worst terrorist enablers on the planet.
Of course.
I
think in a perfect world, we would want to see the end of all of that.
Yeah.
And we'd like to see Iran as a democracy, but you can't make it happen.
No, but no one wants to see the meltdown of world economies, of course.
No.
But I think that you're either for freedom and liberty across the planet, or you're not. And if it were a temporary thing in terms of, you know, the cost of your fuel has gone up by 10p a litre, but the consequence, the benefit, the result is that you're going to end up seeing regime change in Iran and fewer terrorist attacks across the West, by the way. I think that temporarily that's a small price to pay.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The other thing that we're being told is the IMF is warning that for some reason, I don't know why it's always this way, the UK is going to have the biggest sort of negative effect of an energy crisis.
Well, I guess it's because our energy costs are already the highest in the world anyway. So electricity, gas, obviously petrol now, especially if Rachel Reeves, I mean, in the most blinkered, cloth-eared way, decides, despite everything that's going on right now, to continue to add that 5% additional fuel duty to petrol and diesel. I mean, diesel's nearly at £2 a litre, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that will push it well over that. That will push it to 210 on its own. So, you know, as we've just said, most countries now are doing something about the cost of fuel, because of course, look, it's not just the fuel you put in your tank. It's not just the fact that it costs you now 80 quid instead of 70 quid to fill up your Discovery or whatever. It's the fact that that then goes through the entire supply chain. Everything goes up. The cost of bread, the cost of washing machines, the cost of everything, the cost of getting a plumber to your house to fix a dripping tap, whatever it might be. All of that stuff goes up.
Yeah.
That then has a bearing on inflation, which means, without trying to give everybody a schoolboy, schoolgirl economics lesson here, we are much, much less likely to have interest rates drop. So in other words, interest rates might now start going up, which affects everybody in terms of their overdraft, their credit card and their mortgage because of this situation. Rachel Reeves and the government should do what Australia's just done, as you pointed out earlier, and to not subsidise the cost of fuel. So I don't think we should have checks arriving where mats to help us.
But I think that's a bad idea.
The government should sidestep this cash cow that is electricity, is gas, and is petrol and diesel, and take off an element of that, an element of fuel duty. Give us a break.
And also an element of some of the subsidies, the green subsidies particularly, that we pay whenever we pay our electricity bill or our gas bill, which we are forced to pay by the government, which they could also reduce, because that just is helping the companies who are already now making a fortune.
People like Dale Vince.
Yeah.
And these people that want to put kind of, solar panels on 250 acres of land like they do where I am in Shenfield, funny enough. That's about to come up. Yes, all of that is heavily subsidised. Of course, Reform have said that they're going to do away with those subsidies and pass that cost saving on to the public. It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
It really is, you would think so. A couple of clips to show you this morning. Let's kick things off just for a laugh with Donald Trump. This is from last night over in Washington, D.C. He was at some kind of gala function or other, and he did the YMCA dance with a sword, believe it or not.
Of course he did.
I know we're in the middle of a war, but this is...
No one's surprised, right?
This is the kind of... nobody else could do that, really, could they?
It's like Saturday Night Live. They've just got some AI thing to create a skit.
Well, there's so much going on there. Melania looks really, really happy for a start.
Yeah.
So remember all those people who said, she really hates him. She won't hold his hand in public. It's a nightmare. She's doing a little dance there.
Yeah.
He's saying hello. He always talks to the service people who were there, the two people in uniform, and they always love him, right?
Yeah.
But also, don't forget, this is a guy who's sort of macho man, has made a sort of gay iconic song into his theme tune.
Yes.
Without really missing a beat.
Yes, and
which is extraordinary.
And simulating the beheading of presumably the Iranian regime.
Presumably.
Lovely, with a sword. Yeah. Never happier than with a sword in his hand and a cake in front of him, clearly. J.D. Vance was quite happy. He was giving it a few shapes.
He was doing the old YMCA,
but his wife looked like she was wanting to be somewhere else, I think.
Well, Mrs. J.D., I'm not sure about her. I don't know too much about her, really. But
I don't know. But J.D. Vance, probably the next president.
Could well be. Trump is hilarious, brilliant but nuts, says Robert. He just works, though. Somehow it works. Yeah. And, of course, Zach the Plank is trying to mimic Trump. I wonder if he is. He needs better teeth, though, if that's going to be the case. We'll give you some of that in a minute.
I think Trump's dancing is much better than Zach Polanski.
It really is. Oh, yeah. Now, there's something I've got to bring up with you, because you've got dogs, right? Let me show you this. I don't know if you saw this yesterday. The BBC, in the midst of their Scott Mills, let's sack another presenter for consorting with teenage boys,